What's going on, everyone? So something I talked about in yesterday's video was the potential of Mark Kincaid meeting his end in the upcoming Scream movie, right? A lot of talks about Sidney Prescott kind of going through this emotional stress, her having kind of this emotional just trauma that she's going to have to deal with throughout the course of Scream 7. Now, obviously, we don't know that for certain. It's rumors going around. It's a consistent rumor that we're hearing from multiple sources, multiple people, but as always, take that stuff with a grain of salt. Everything's just speculation until it's actually confirmed and we know. But the question is, okay, if Sidney Prescott really is going to be dealing with some emotional stress to a significant level that it's going to be very impactful throughout the course of Scream 7, then somebody significant has to die, right? Her losing a Gale, or her, finding out Sam and Tara met their end or something like that because they're written off the show or the film or whatever. I just don't see that having the impact, right? If her friend dies, I just don't see her having that impact. I don't see that actually significantly affecting her to a level in which she's having this emotional trauma, right? It would have to be something incredibly impactful for her to really kind of have that type of breakdown, because we've seen her basically lose everyone she's ever loved, everyone that's close to her, everyone that's kind of gone and been by her side. She was a harbinger of death, and just lost every boyfriend she's had. It's just, I know a lot of people really want her to have a happy ending. A lot of people want to see her kind of ride off into the sunset, right? Scream 6 even kind of set up, hey, we all deserve that happy ending type thing. Sidney's good, Sidney's happy. Well, if they wanted her to have just a happy, clean ending, you're not going to bring her back, right? You're not going to bring her back into where people can die and stakes are raised and all that stuff, right? It's not possible. But her having a happy ending is also very unlikely. Her entire life has just been death and just total chaos and madness. Right? And at the end of the day, this is a horror franchise, right? Not everybody gets a happy ending. Not everything is supposed to be wrapped up in a tight little bow. If this was a drama or a love story or something like that, then sure. But no, this is a horror franchise. And historically speaking, the main character usually dies at some point in the horror franchise or doesn't have a happy ending, right? So to me, I don't think it's unlikely that she loses Mark Kincaid. But if it's not Mark Kincaid, who else can it be? The only other option would be her kids, right? Or one of her kids. Now, we don't exactly know how many kids she has, right? It wasn't locked in and confirmed. Some people speculate, she has twins or whatever, because she said she had to take the girls to school. That doesn't necessarily mean she has twins, right? I have girls that are different ages, and I say all the time, oh yeah, my girls, right? Because it's just what you say if you have kids. If you have multiple girls, what do you usually say? You usually say, oh yeah, my girls, right? So doesn't necessarily mean she has twins. Doesn't mean that she doesn't, but a lot of people use that line as a reference point to oh, she has twins. No, it doesn't necessarily mean she has twins, but again, we don't know how many exactly she has. At least 3. When you look it up, it says she has 3. But that's because, again, she says has to get the girls to school before the run, and then she's pushing a stroller. So girls, as in plural, usually means 2. That could mean 3, could mean 4, could mean whatever. She could have a son. We don't know how many kids she has. Even the timeline is a little weird, right? Because it's kind of okay, well, when did she start having kids? Because, technically, she could have a kid that's 19, 20 by the time this comes out, right? Because Scream 3 is when her and Mark Kincaid would have gotten together at around that time. So you're talking, 2000? Right? So you're talking, by the time this film comes out, 25 years later, right? So, if she had a kid 5 years later, that kid would be 20, right? So I look at this and I go, okay, so they can basically fit this in however they want, however they need. She could have a daughter that's going to college, right? Like, needing to get the kids to, or needing to get the girls to school doesn't necessarily mean that they're in elementary school, right? Like, again, I have a kid that is in one grade, I have another kid that's in another grade, right? Like, you lump them together, right? I have to get my kids to school, whatever, right? Like, so you can basically make this fit however you want. The reason I bring this up and the reason I mention that is because I don't think that they would kill a, like a kid. Now, this is a horror franchise. This is a horror movie. Many horror movies have done that, right? Many horror movies use that as a trope to really pull on the heartstrings of people. So it's not impossible that they do something like that. But I think if they were to do something like that, it would be like a teen. I mean, 96, you could argue, killed a bunch of kids, right? Like, they were all teenagers. They were all in high school. They were all 17 years old, right? Last I checked, that's a kid. So obviously there's different levels to that, but I don't think it's crazy and far-fetched that they would go that route. Again, I don't think they would do that. I think Mark Kincaid would meet his end before they went the child route. But I also think, like, again, how else would you really make that impactful? How else would you really kind of hit that home and cause Sidney that emotional just break? Right? Like, what would really cause that? To me, it would have to be family. It would have to be a family member. It'd have to be Mark Kincaid. It'd have to be one of her kids. Because, mom's gone. Dad's gone. Right? Like, she doesn't have anybody else. Brother's gone. Right? Like, and Gail, I don't think would do it. She didn't break down emotionally over Dewey, and she was a lot closer to Dewey than she was to Gail. Right? Like, and what did that do? It motivated her. It made her want to avenge Dewey. Right? Now, the only other thing besides, like, maybe a death is just, you could spin it as, like, just another Ghostface kind of just got to her, and her family maybe being at risk got to her, kind of broke her down, and she kind of realizes, like, I'm never going to be safe. I'm never going to be in a position to where my family's safe. Like, this is always going to happen. Right? So it's not, like, so morbid, I guess. But, like, I don't know. Like, this Scream film is supposed to be the darkest version yet. It's supposed to be the scariest version yet. Ghostface is supposed to be the most brutal. Ghostface's return is supposed to be is supposed to set the tone and the standard that nobody is safe, that all bets are off the table. Well, if you're going to do that, outside of somebody meeting their end, how else do you do that? It's a slasher film. It's a horror movie. And again, I don't think Sidney has that type of break over Gail, right? I mean, their relationship has really evolved over time and over the years, but it's not like they're just kind of like acquaintances with this just horrific connection type thing, right? So, and Scream has done, you've seen the progression, right? Like, from Sidney the victim to Sidney the, like, overcoming that fear and stepping out of the darkness. That was what Scream 4 was all about. And then Scream 5, like, she could have stayed hidden. Ghostface wasn't coming after her, right? She was just chilling. But what did she do? She went, left her family, left her husband, left everything to go and avenge Dewey. Right? Like, the whole point the last several films is that Sidney is the new Sidney. She's not running no more. She's not hiding no more. She's out in the open. She's doing jogs. She's running with her kids, right? Like, there is no more hiding, right? She's in a populated area. She's not, a recluse in the woods. I just don't know how else you get kind of that Scream 3 version of Sidney without there being some level of significant, impactful depth. That there is a depth that really just hits home in a way that we haven't like really seen. And this is new territory we haven't gone to, where you have this family dynamic. If Sidney has some, 20-year-old kid or 18-year-old kid or something that goes away to college and that's it, she meets her end, be a pretty good way to establish like the tone and the standard and no one is safe and all. Like, but you kind of get away with like, it's not a it's not like a little guy type thing. It's like, it's same age that Sidney was when she was attacked type thing. Right. So, just kind of a thought, kind of something that, I was going through. But anyways, always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that this could be a real possibility? Think no, they wouldn't do that. Again, at the end of the day, if you wanted Sidney to have a happy ending, you wouldn't bring her back. Why would you bring her back to put her through this again, run the risk of her dying again, just to, we know they're probably not going to kill her. I don't think that they would kill her. But that doesn't mean that everyone else that we don't know and don't have that connections and don't have those ties to wouldn't. Just a thought. But let me know how you feel down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos. I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.